Approve agenda? Do I hear a motion?
Approve the agenda with correction on resolution 17, 13, should be 14 instead of 13.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, reports. Stephen.
Hello, I'm Grace Gasca. I do apologize that she was not able to make it. She has a flu, she wanted to make that food. So she's not just itching. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do this. President Allen for you. Yesterday, our boys soccer team traveled to Desert and brought home wins. The girls won HDR champs once again. The basketball team also traveled to Cal City and the girls won. The boys not so good. Fall classes started this Monday. We wish Heidi good luck. She needs it. The ACT plays started tomorrow, February 8th, and the 9th at 7 p.m. Admission is $5. Hope to see you there. ASB has an upcoming blood drive on February 20th with each person we get to donate, and we can save up to 3 lives. Therefore, if any of you would like to donate to the Red Cross, we'll be in our gym from 7:30 to 2:30 p.m. Well, that has been happening at right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the item is school reports, Ascend Academy.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello.
At the beginning of the year, Mr. Shevlin and Mr. Fenbries and Miss Andrews presented to you we showcased our students and kind of what they're doing. So tonight I really wanted to showcase the people behind what makes Ascend so special and so meaningful, and that's the staff. And so I know you all think it's me. Just kidding. It's really not. I actually do very little because of the staff.
You're on record now.
I do very little. My job is simple. It's just to support these amazing people and their ideas. We're a Golden Bell winning program because of them. We have almost 20% of our population transitioning to comprehensive sites because of them. We have reduced our suspensions and expulsion rates at Ascend because of them, not because of anything that I've done. So I really think that we need to recognize them and their hard work. So the first two people I want to recognize are Katie Trejo and Alicia Cambaliza. You can stand. Katie Trejo is our full-time LMFT. She sees our kids all the time. She runs from the moment she gets to school until the moment she leaves. She's lost like 30 pounds. I clearly need to be following her around. Alicia, she's only part-time really at our site. Not only does she service our students, which is absolutely amazing, these two have gotten together, they have brainstormed our groups. So instead of having just group counseling at Ascend, they've actually gotten together, and we have a girls group, we have an anger management, we have, what's the other group?
Social skills.
Social skills, and so they're really narrowing down what the students need. And so this was their idea. They came to me and I said, sounds great. And so in addition to, Alicia at our site, she's also at Rare Earth, she's at Abraham Lincoln, she's at Rosamond High School, she's at West Park. So these two ladies work so incredibly hard for the district and our students at Ascend and throughout the district. I'm so proud. And Miss Cambaliza is the girls' cheer coach for both Tropico and the high school. So they just go, go, go. So thank you so much to Alicia Cambaliza and Kate.
Thank you.
Wow, I'm even more excited.
And then Miss Andrews will tell you that I like to give everybody awards. Ms. Andrews has said we cannot give every student an award every month. The next person I'd like to recognize is Tamara Tunnell. Tamara Tunnell. I can't talk right now because I'm so excited. She's the lead CSO at Ascend Academy. She took over the position over the summer this year. She came to me, her and Katie, and they said, "We think your discipline's all wrong." And I said, "Oh, my bad." They said, "We need to not be punitive, but we need to be restorative. And we really want to change the way we do things around here." So Tamara spends relentless hours with our students, really getting to the why that they have done something. And in addition to that, she makes them write apology letters, and she makes them restore the relationships that they've broken with their actions. If you've been disrespectful to a teacher, you've broken that relationship, how are you going to restore it? And so it has really, really changed the dynamics of our campus. We are better for it, and so Tamara, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, she's a coach too. Thank you. She coaches the JV. And they're doing really good.
We had a conversation yesterday.
The next teacher is Miss Wilson, and we went to Ascend at the same time. And people were like, "You guys are going where?" I said, "We're going to Ascend." She's out of the classroom now. She's our floating sub, but she's also the admin designee there. And she's everywhere. If there's a class that needs to be covered, she's covering the class. If there's a meeting I need covered, she's covering the meeting. If there's something that needs to be done, she is doing it. We get donations from companies to run our PBIS, and she's writing those letters. She's getting those donations. She's making sure our level 4 weekly party is happening and that our store is on point. So Ms. Wilson, thank you. And you can tell in doing this, you're learning a little bit about Ascend too, because it all happens. So the next teacher is Almacar Ramirez. He's new. I don't know if he wants to thank me or hurt me, but he actually was at College Community, and he came in my office and we were having a conversation about something else, and I said, I think you need to be a teacher here. And so he said, all right, let's do it. He had a rough group coming in. First year teaching, I didn't envy him. It was hard tasks set before him. He has really shaped the young men and the young lady in his class. And I think he brings such a unique perspective because he does have that counseling background. So not only is he teaching them, but he has that time to counsel them, to really make a difference. One of his students is transitioning, and he's constantly talking to that teacher, working closely with Ms. Wilson and Mr. Mesa, and really doing a beautiful job. So thank you so much, Mr. Mesa. Jamal is from the Bahamas. I always said the Jamaica. I was like, "You're from Jamaica?" He's like, "Stop it, I'm not from Jamaica." He is from the Bahamas. So Miss Andrews also has a joke that if she sees a teacher with me taking a tour, she's like, "Run, or you will work here." So, she did have Mr. Hepburn here. He can take any student, the roughest students, and he can change their lives. And he does every single day. In addition to teaching at Ascend, he helped with the track team last year. He's helping Mr. Fembries with the boys basketball team, and he helps coach on our Rosamond Youth Sports Club basketball. So he's very busy in the community as well. So he's not only helping our students in class, but out of class as well. So thank you so much. Michael Fembries is my favorite teacher. I was teasing him. Yeah. I was teasing him last week for his basketball, but today I have to commend him. 6th, 7th grade boys are going to the championship game tomorrow. So good job, Mr. Fembries.
Thank you.
So he's the coach. He's the boys coach, boys basketball coach at TMS. But he teaches our middle school, and I think Mr. Adams can attest that if anybody teaches middle school anywhere, they're a special person. And so Michael takes our students, and he does a great job. We have 2 students this year who are going to fully transition back to Tropico. And he has 1 student last year that fully transitioned, and he's doing amazing. We got to watch him walk across the stage at Tropico last year as a fully transitioned, oh that sounds bad, but like a student who are fully at the comprehensive campus. And so Mr. Fembries always has the jokes. He brings laughter to our campus, but he's strict when it needs to be. He had all boys for a very long time, and this year he has girls. He's not happy about that. He's like, but he does a great job, and thank you so much, Mr. Fembries, for everything that you do. Mr. C almost couldn't walk through the door with his big head this morning because he's back-to-back High Desert League Championship girls soccer. Yes, the girls out here, good job. In fact, I was trying to tell him something this morning. Miss G, and he asked, we're doing a pets for NPVL, and I said, where is your fish? And he said, let me tell you about the soccer game. And I said, no. Let me hear about your fish. So, but anyways, when I went over to Ascend, it became obvious to me right away that we would have to have a special class set aside for those students who have autism. And this is a passion of Mr. Corletto's. He is experienced in ABA, he's experienced with behaviors, and he really set up our autism program. It's a beautiful program. We've had districts come and see the program and are just so impressed with him. He also has one of his students going to the comprehensive campus as well. And so I want to thank Mr. C for setting up such a beautiful program. Now, once we realized we had an autism class, we realized we were going to have to break that into 2 for high functioning and low functioning. And I had this aide who was amazing, and she took the tour with me, which Valerie tried to tell her not to take the tour, but she did. And so she teaches our Mod Severe class. She has 4 students currently in the class. I was just in there today watching them, and it's so beautiful to watch these students who are really struggling in different areas in our district, but they come to this program and they are counting. This one student who came to us from the high school, and she was really having some behavior problems. They didn't even know if she was going to be academic. She's older. She's 17. Yeah. And I watched her today write her name. And I was just in tears when I left, and I went straight to Mr. C. I said, you're never going to believe what I just saw. And so Jeannie's definitely making a difference, and she's in charge of our NPDL this year, and we really thank her. And last but not least is Miss Andrews. She was a first grade teacher the first year that I was vice principal at Rosamond Elementary, and always admired her work ethic. She came to me and said, will you write me a letter of recommendation? I'm going to go into SPED, and I think I'm going to go ahead and leave and go to SPED. And I said, leave where? Well, and she lives in Valencia, so she drives a very long distance, and she said, well, I'm going to look down there. And I said, well, come pick up your letter, and I'll just give you a tour. And so she has a wonderful, I am sneaky. She has a wonderful combination of understanding what students should learn at 3rd grade level, because she has that general education background. And then she has this beautiful heart for special education. She is the lead teacher, K through 5th. She really makes sure that our curriculum is on point, because even though we are working with behaviors, we also want to make sure that our academics are rigorous and that they're where they need to be. Because we know that we are not going to service these students if they come to us and then academically they can't go back and perform. So Valerie has really been essential in that process. And so, and she really is the boss. I think everybody knows that. So thank you, Ms. Andrews. Working at Ascend is definitely an arduous task. We have to do things that can be heartbreaking, that can take us to places we didn't think we had to go. We deal with both external and internal behaviors, and when a child is hurting, they come to school hurt. And so I always tell my staff, any staff that works for me, you need 3 things. You need to be humble, because these kids are going to argue with you, and you have to be able to walk away. You're never going to win. You have to be forgiving, because they're going to really make you upset, and you're going to have to turn around because they're going to want to hug, and you're going to have to hug them. And you have to give grace, because these students need above all grace. And so these staff members encompass those 3 things, and because of that, they change lives. And they change lives because of your support, because you let us have the Ascend Academy. You know, we contract with 5 other districts, and we see these kids come in, hurt, a little bit broken, needing some love, and we give them that love and that support, and they leave us with their head held high and somewhat whole again. And so it's because of these people before you. So if we could give them one more round of applause.
Thank you. Our next school reporting is West Park Elementary.
Good evening. Mr. Nate is going to pass out a little something for you. That was an awesome presentation, Ms. Notterman. Congratulations to your site. And I've always taken pride in the fact that in our district, everyone has a place and there's a place for everyone. So everybody that resides in our district they feel like they belong because they do. And Ascend Academy certainly is testimony to that. So good for you and good for all of your staff and the students that attend your school. Congratulations. So at West Park, what you have before you, back in August when we came together as an admin team, the superintendent tasked all of the school's administrators to come up with some sort of a selling package, you know, to kind of showcase our school and the different programs that we offer at our school. So it starts out, the first is just our logo and the fact that we're a gold ribbon school. We're very proud of that fact, along with, of course, the district logo. The second is talking about our Read 180. It actually shows photographs of the Read 180 program and System 44 in action. So if parents come to our district and come to the Educational Services Department, where Ms. Hargis leads that group, they'll actually have an artifact that they can carry away and know everything about our school and the wonderful programs that we offer at our school. So the next is our iRead. We have iRead program, as does Rosamond Elementary School. The first year that I came here, we started teaching physical education again, and I was so happy that that came about, because we have seen a marked difference in just the mindset of our students and the fact that we have that big, beautiful field at our school. We wanted to show that in this photograph, because it's really a resource that, because of all of you, we have that, and our kids are very, very thankful for the fact that they've got that field that they can run and play on. And we facilitate physical education classes on that field every single day, morning to close. So we're happy to have that facility. Our academic counselor, again, it's something else that was added to our campuses. As a result of your wisdom, we were able to hire Ms. Phillips, and she has been an amazing member of our team. She not only counsels students academically, but she also works with our other behavioral counselor with a is it Go Run Girls? What is it called?
Girls on the Go.
Girls on the Go, thank you. And so it actually targets girls in 5th grade and some 4th grade girls that really need to have just find a different focus in their lives, and it motivates them to do well. It's a running program. Ms. Phillips works with her on that and with the girls, but she's also really a key player in our student study team process. So she counsels students, she tests students in that process for SST to just do probes to see where they are academically, what levels of readiness they are. So she's made a really big difference on our campus as well. Next is our school psychologist, which is Miss Heather Conklin. We didn't take any pictures of her with students because that is confidential, but this is one of the things that she does in her time is work with students through play therapy, and it does open up those affective filters, and it allows information to get in and information to come out so that Ms. Conklin can help them more effectively. Next, we have our Project Lead the Way, which is our STEM program. One thing that we're so proud of is the fact that we don't have a GATE program labeled GATE, so not in my mind. But we can sell this to parents because it is something that reaches all students, not just gifted and talented. We have many students in our school that may not get the highest grades, but because of their exposure to this program, we see future mechanics, whether they're aircraft mechanics or auto mechanics. We see future HVAC people. We see so much potential from this program in our school because our students are exposed to this, and they see success within themselves that they don't see in the academic setting, if you will. So they're not getting A's and B's and everything, but they are getting A's in this. So it's really a profound program for us to have at West Park. Next is the fact that we're a school-wide AVID. We did have a parent AVID night, and we want parents to understand that we are active from kindergarten through 5th grade, and though it wasn't crowded, it was well attended. It was our very first AVID night, and we advertised it well, and we had parents and their students come and just find out what every grade level was focused on, from collaboration to note-taking to you name it in AVID, and the binders, what's required, so that when they get to Mr. Adams' school, the kids have been very much exposed to AVID and the concepts behind it and where it can take them. And finally, our after-school program. We have a very successful and active after-school program. We have many students that benefit from the program, and many parents actually that are very thankful for the fact that we have that program at our schools. So I think we know that our community needs help, and we give them the help, thanks to all of you making that possible and making that available to our kids. So that's our little package to sell for our school. So next, we wanted to highlight our GLAD program. I know you're familiar with our latest scores, obviously from the data that was shared with you on our single school plan. One thing that we wanted to focus on, and thanks to Ms. Hargis, she was able to get many teachers in the district trained on the GLAD program, which is Guided Language Acquisition Design. So what that does is, I think is that the first slide or the second slide? Okay, the first slide. So GLAD was developed and field tested, so it's definitely research-based, and it's a model that helps all educators employ high-quality, effective strategies that promote language acquisition, academic achievement, and cross-cultural skills in a multicultural classroom. So we have a very high number of English learner students in our schools, so it's important that we have a program like this to offer, not just in our after-school. We have a GLAD Academy after school, but the fact that we've been able to train 18 teachers on our campus with these strategies means that we can reach more students. So it's really impacted the greater good of our whole school community in terms of how we serve students, especially those who are language impoverished. So it's not the fault of the family. Many families don't have the time because they're working so hard to really enrich their children's lives. But we can in the classroom, especially with these tools, to help those students engage in conversations, engage in reading, whether it's in their home language or it's in our language. It finds segues into a better understanding of the academics and the curriculum. So the next slide, please. So the interactive writing journals They're actually a way that teachers and English learners, or all students, indeed all students, they write in the journal. There are no lines in the journal because it is believed that lines cause anxiety. If you see a page full of lines, you feel like you need to fill all those lines up. But if a student sees a page that is blank and they can just write on that page, then they write freely. And free writing is much more productive writing, it is believed. So the teacher actually collects those journals after they're done writing, and she goes through them. She does not correct any misspellings. She just makes comments in the margins and has a conversation, a private conversation with students. So where that goes from there, we actually have cognitive processing charts and cognitive content dictionaries, which is grounded in research by Isabel Beck, who is a very well-known author for vocabulary development, as well as Scheffelbein. It's used to attack words that kids don't know, vocabulary words that they don't know. And it's a 10-step process which actually ends with students and student teams creating their own oral sentence that they present to the class later. It's something that they all take a great amount of pride in. So this is cooperative sentence patterning. So what students do with this is each student is accountable in their group, and they're given a different color marker to write their words. But also, these are actually different colors to represent different forms of speech or figures of speech. So you may have a purple for a noun, a red for an adjective, green for a verb, and it actually helps kids become accountable and contributing to the process, but it also introduces students to, especially students that are not from here, that are English learners, to basic sentence syntax. So the proper way it helps them with the proper way to speak because they're learning the proper way to read and write. It also opens them up to games like a trade game, like I'll trade my noun for your adjectives so that they can build their own sentences. So, and it's a great review game. So the next is sentence patterning chart. This is actually taking place in our SDC classroom. So with Mrs. Sandy Vigil, she's got 2 third graders and the balance of her class are 4th and 5th grade students. And she has literally knocked it out of the park with GLAD strategies in her class. So she has done the same thing with the content processing charts and the cognitive content dictionary, and has just made a big difference in her students' language understanding and understanding of content and vocabulary as well. This is another picture of her and her students at work. Okay, this is the cooperative strip paragraph. So with cooperative strip paragraphs, students actually get into groups and they work on building paragraphs with those figures, those parts of speech. If you could go to the next. Then the teacher, as you can see, Mrs. Moset's 2nd grade class was very engaged in this activity. After they work on the cooperative strip paragraph, they go into whole group in front of the teacher with the chart, and they work on building that, and then they later use that as a source as a foundation to actually write a cohesive paragraph, and then they edit it later as well. And the reason why we wanted to highlight that this evening is because it's a program that we see that students can take information from this program and transfer it to from whatever grade they start in the program all the way through till they get to middle school and high school. So we're really thankful to have it. The kids don't know they're learning. They are learning, but they don't know why they're learning. They're just happy that they are, and they're feeling successful as a result of this program. So we wanted to highlight that and make you aware of. You helped us get it, so we want you to be aware of it and what it does for our kids. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. We are very excited at Rosemont Elementary and our new facilities. The kids are adjusting well. We're having a great time. And I think the thing that we're most excited about is on March 1st, we get to open up the field and cut all 900 kids on that new grass. So they're excited, we're ready to go. Tonight we're just going to highlight some of the fun things that we're doing at Rosemont Elementary, or as the kids call it, RES. We're going to be touching on a few of them tonight. What we'd like to begin with is, as you know, every year we compete in the Oral Language Festival. This year we were very proud. We had one of our students, coached by Peggy Soria and Becky Chidwood, represent the district in Bakersfield. And we brought her here tonight. We have Leilani Gomez, and she would like to perform for you her rendition of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Leilani.
I Have a Dream by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I say to you today, my friends, that even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live with the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that one day, my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racist, with its governor having his lips stripping the words of interposition and nullification. One day, right there in Alabama, little black boys and little black girls will be able to join hands together with little white boys and little white girls. As brothers and sisters, I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places shall be made plain, and the crooked places shall be made straight. And the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discord of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to wake together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to become a great nation, this must be true.
Thank you, Leilani. Now you can see why she made it all the way to Bakersfield. And off record, I think she was robbed. One of the biggest things that we pride ourselves at RES is that we work as a team, we work as a family. I have 2 teachers that came to me and they had a real concern. And as you know, I tell my teachers, you never come to me with a problem, you come to me with a problem and 2 or 3 possible options on how to solve it. And to tell you a little bit more about that, I'd like to invite Miss Feinstein and Miss Van Gordon to come forward, and they're going to speak to you about a new program that we're piloting this year, and then we're looking to make it go school-wide by next year. Oops, I did the wrong one. Go back.
Here, hold on.
Okay, sorry.
While she's setting up. When my kids were growing up at a school in Thousand Oaks, they got involved with working when they had extra time and had to finish their work in the special ed classrooms. And so we had an incident at our fall festival with one of my students who seemed to have a lack of empathy and compassion and didn't understand why the severe mod kids got to skip the line for some of our activities and was quite infuriated by it. And of course I read him the Riot Act and then came up with an idea of finding a way to teach him why things were the way they were. So I talked to Ms. Van Gordon, who knew about the incident already and had come to me, and I talked to his mom, and we decided that he was going to spend some time in that classroom every day for about an hour and see if he could learn to understand why. He still struggles with that problem, but the program went so well that she then asked if we could have more of the students come and work with the kids. And it grew from there into a daily event in the last hour of school for 10 of my students to go there through the preps before the holidays, where they then formed incredible bonds with these kids. But more than that, they learned the true meaning of compassion and empathy and formed such bonds with these children that they then learned their holiday routine, including sign language, and performed it with them in front of their class and the parents of these kids. And what we would like to do is open it up to the entire school classrooms at a schedule that a couple of our special ed teachers would put together, and how many students each time, and the kids would then be allowed to, if their work is finished in this award system, be able to go for 20 minutes here, an hour there, on a regular basis throughout the school to 2 of these rooms and actually work with these kids and get much more gen ed time for these kids to be able to work with the gen ed kids. But the huge thing is for the gen ed kids to understand when they go out into the community why they should be even more compassionate and understanding and not be afraid to go up and talk to when they see people who might have some challenges. So we have a few pictures from that, and it's Mrs. Van Gordon's class that we got to go and had the pleasure of being in.
So these pictures here are just of the 10 kids that came into my class. And we first started off with just kind of getting to know each other, and then we worked with different Christmas projects. And they each formed different bonds with them. And then we were doing one-on-one partnership, but then I decided to have them switch and actually get a feel for each, to get to know each kid, and that worked out really well. The bonds that they created was just incredible. I got to sit them one-on-one with a lot of their partners, and they worked ABCs, they worked on their name. Because just like Ms. Notterman was saying, some of these kids can know their name today, and tomorrow they can't even tell me the first letter. So it was exciting to see some of her kids just really take the time and the compassion to work with my students. And so then we did a performance at the end where I do sign language a lot through my class, and so our kids were teaching Ms. Feinstein's class different sign language, and they took so much pride in themselves that they were actually get to teach them something. So I recorded some of it to show, and it was just amazing. I asked one of my parents to come today to bring one of my students who you guys probably are familiar with is Alex. He's in the wheelchair, but he wasn't feeling well to come, but I wanted to kind of read what she had sent to me after that performance, and she just said, "I wanted to thank you for the performance with those kids yesterday. It was so awesome to watch them all, and although Alex did refuse to do anything, I knew he would laugh out loud, but I really enjoyed watching the other kids interact with him and watch his face light up. And she's like, and when they were all talking to them, it was really special. So thank you again. So it's just stuff like that that like makes me do what I do, and the compassion. And we just thought it would be good to let, you know, the whole school get a feel of it. And so I don't know if we have the video, if we didn't come through. Okay. But it was, they did 3 songs. They did We Wish You a Merry Christmas, Jingle Bells, and then we have a good, like a goodbye song that we sing, and they did it for my classrooms. I kept them in my classroom to do it because a lot of my kids won't go in there out of the environment and perform like they did. So I got the approval from Mr. Torres to bring everyone in my class, and it was exciting to see, but the kids were just full of pride that day. So it's a bummer that you can't show it, but these are some pictures.
And with us tonight, we have Lux Peden. She's one of the students that participated in this project. She wants to speak to you just very briefly.
Hi, my name is Lux. I would like to say that I was very lucky to be able to go over there and interact with them. Just to see their faces light up is a reward to me. And I think that it should be open to the school more, so then more of the kids that have bullied them can figure out why they can stop bullying them, and that they're the same, they're not as different as you.
Thank you. Like I said, I was at the Christmas program. It was amazing just to see the faces light up and just the way they performed. It was amazing. I wish the video actually had gone through. If we get it to actually fix it, we'll talk to Gary tomorrow. Then we can forward it and you can share it with all of you. All right, next, as you know, we have our after-school enrichment program. So I've asked that Ms. Tanya Long, who is my director of the after-school program, and Jody Feinstein come forward just to let you know what we've done and what we have planned for the spring semester.
Got to come up too. Well, we've presented to you before about this. So I think we're up to close to 18 classes for the new semester. We're a little behind on getting, usually we would have started already. But we have our 8 to 10 that we've already started. Choir's ending early this year because Mrs. Kaminsky's pregnant and won't be able to finish out the year. So they have their show coming up, which you'll all be invited to. But what we've added is really exciting. In several of our classes, we've been able to put together, without needing stipend positions for teachers, many of Ms. Tanya Long's teachers are willing to incorporate them into their after-school program. So we just shuffle kids around. So we've added, and especially when we had the Rising Stars start, we've tried to incorporate them. It's a little tough because they're so little. But they get to do some art, and with our planned garden and cow, and several other animals, mainly the cow, they will be working in we have about an acre that Mr. Weinstein got us, and once the contract things are taken care of and we got the dirt donated, and once that all is done, we can move the cow in, put in the stables and everything else, and do all the planting. We have an orchard that's going to go in. Rising Stars is coming in, and they're going to be a part of it. We're going to be sitting down with them and figuring out if they want their own space, but we've got raised beds that we've been using for the last 3 or 4 years, and those are still going to be actively used. So that part is super exciting, and we're getting really excited, and once Raleigh gets us the layout of what's underground, then we'll be able to start blueprints until we're able to actually start digging in the dirt. But there's a couple that are really exciting. Our librarian is going to be doing scrapbooking. We have Crazy Math Club to help kids that are struggling with math in after-school programs, along with several other intervention programs that we've got going with math and reading for all the kids. But the after-school enrichment classes, we're hoping to start a track and field once the grass opens. And you don't have to worry about building a track, we'll just wear one in for you. But a couple of real exciting ones and many of you will be asked to come, is we are going to bring in a different professional every week. We don't need a teacher for it. I'm just going to schedule professionals. We've got astronauts. We have a parent who works at Edwards, and he puts weapon systems on the F-16s. He's going to come in. He's been in Afghanistan. He's got pictures. We've got stay-at-home moms. We have a superintendent and an assistant superintendent. We've got principals. We're going to be asking all of you to come in for an hour one day, and we'll give you plenty of advance notice and choices and dates. And to give the kids the idea of firemen, policemen, sheriffs, you name it. We have a dad who works for an RV company. He's bringing an RV in, and the kids get to climb all over it. We have a mom who builds race cars and drag races. She's finished one. When you lift the hood, it is bright pink. She insists it's bright purple. It's pink. And she's gonna, it's after school, she's gonna pull it up, and the kids don't get to go in it. But she's going to turn it on, and she said it's extremely loud, and then explain to them how she got involved with drag racing. So it's all these different opportunities for the kids to see all the opportunities that are out there, from working at McDonald's to being a mechanic to being a teacher, you name it, we want them to come. And then another class that we're really excited about, and there won't be enough room for everybody because the adults want to come, is a criminal investigative class that one of our teachers, who's a para actually, she is doing this as her other career outside of working in our school. And they're going to have a crime scene that Mr. Torres gets to create, and then they have to solve the crime. No technology. They're going to work in groups, they're going to have magnifying glasses, they'll be like Sherlock Holmes and CSI, they're going to learn how to fingerprint. And I don't know how many of you have seen the Educator magazine we all get? Well, there was a teacher there from Enoch High School that I happen to, and I read it just because you never know what you're going to find and who you can ask for money. And he does this in his middle school classroom, and it showed the layout of the body and all the equipment and everyone in their lab coats. We've got the lab coats and the magnifying glass, we're ready to go. And we have the tape and Mr. Torres who gets to plan it all. But he's willing to help us set up and follow along. I reached out to the district and got to the school and got to him, and now he and I are on the phone, and he's willing to walk us through and help us set it all up and be an advisor to us, and he has no idea who we are. So there's tons out there, and they just keep asking and asking, and as you know, I just keep pushing and pushing. So with Tanya as my co-director now, we are able to just keep bringing more and more in without actually adding more and more cost. So we still work for grants, we still look everywhere we can, and we ask everybody, but the kids are having a ball, and it's turning out to be quite the event. And Mr. Torres, within reason, pretty much doesn't say no, and we just keep making it happen.
Within reason.
Yeah. Including the cow.
Sometimes we don't hear it when he says
Including the cow. He doesn't hear that.
And that's recorded.
But some of the pictures that you're seeing are just some of the activities that they're doing in the after-school program. So the Crazy 8 was another grant that we applied for, just trying to get some supplies, materials to be brought out or brought to the school, give different enriching activities to the kids. Those are actually those, no, they're not pipe cleaners, they're those, oh my gosh, I lost what it. Yeah, the lighted necklaces that they're doing. So, yes. And they were able to create all different kinds of things with them. So they were super excited, not realizing how much they're learning while they're playing. So we have restored the partnership with the Rosamond Library. So the manager's coming out, the new manager that took over is coming out and bringing her Legos and actually doing some one-on-one story time with some of the classrooms. So we have that going on. Another thing that we were able to establish was through the Antelope Valley College, getting tutors to come out to our campus. They have a grant program where they pay the students, and we get the benefits of them being there one-on-one with the kids. So hopefully we're able to expand that. We're always applying for more grants and more ways to get money and try to build up the program even bigger than what it is.
Those are just a few of the things that we're doing at RES. We're looking forward to coming back again and next showcase and actually showing you pictures from the crime scene. I promise it won't be anybody you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're gonna make me fall down like Mr. Flawless said. Ms. Feinstein mentioned that cow 8 times, I like that. All the people here that got, that work with Miss Donnerman are amazing people. Miss Andrews, I was walking through the parking lot one day, I met her, I said, oh, are you new? Have you been here? Oh, I've been here 4 or 5 years. Really ought to get out more often. And then I hugged her because she went through some stuff, so. Then I just met Miss Valerie the other day, and she bumped into, oh, you work, oh, yeah, on the school, oh, hi, And of course, Ms. Wilson, my friend, been here forever. And the girl in the back, I've known her forever when she was on the other side, and the other one. And so it's truly amazing. It really is. This can't be Roseman. We just don't do things like that in Roseman. You give us Schweinberg. No. And Miss B sitting back there, I bug that lady too much. I always go in her classroom because I like to see what they're doing, and my daughter works in that classroom, so it's fun. It's amazing. It really is, you guys. It's just, I've been here since 1996, and we've done so much. At times, it's so little. And I firmly believe that every child that comes to the desk of knowledge gets to cut a piece of that pie. Every child. And it takes everybody here to do it. And it is amazing. I look at Coach C. We had a girls group that went from dead, there was last, and then there was dead last. The first. And it was cool until some, yes, and thank you, back to back, And you can't let the boys touch your hat. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I get a reference to that because you notice our girls' teams are, all I gotta say is who won the World Cup. We'll just leave that alone. Anyway, it really is truly amazing. I just, I'm so blessed to be a part of this and watch this grow. And there's no words that can encompass this. I am so pleased, and every time I go around, it's something new, something, but it's all tied into what everybody here in this room has done and keeps doing. Because there were times when it wasn't such a happy place. It wasn't. And I remember Miss Alice saying, people would call and say, hey, you guys got openings there? We want to work at Southern Kern. And I believe we're doing that again. I know we're doing that again. And sometimes you want to leave, like a certain football coach decided to do, and then at the last moment he went, I don't want to do that. So sometimes that works, sometimes that works. So, thank you. Thank you for all you do, thank you for what you do, and thank you for who you are. Because it's a winning situation, it's a winning combination of people sitting in these seats. And I know you get paid for what you do, but everybody in this goes way and beyond that paycheck. I'm blessed to have adopted 9 children. 9 children. And
Aren't you a grandpa today?
Yeah, well, the 9th one is coming, April. He's about that tall, he has no hair, but he'll be there. Somebody once said, if you didn't get any money for this, would you still do it? Because if you're in it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reason. And if you're in it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reason. And I just have to say this, Jody, if it starts raining and a big boat shows up, I'm going to be wondering what's going on over there.
Oh, I can tell you, we'll be teaching sailing and nautical classes. We'll just incorporate it right in.
We're working on that.
Got nothing to worry about. Then the sea life will show.
Anyway, I taken up too much time, but thank you, and I appreciate it, and I'm waiting on the birth of the granddaughters.
She hasn't had her yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
No.
been there all day?
I know, all day.
Poor
Yeah.
thing.
So, Next
And
year,
all night.
Oh,
Second one, yeah. Yeah.
But it's not
But
here.
some of these-
Mom's there.
Yeah, some of these people taught her, so, you know, know her, so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So she was like,
Well, I saw your daughter this morning, she said they were hooking her up.
That's true, yeah. But I can't thank you guys enough, I really can't. It's a labor of love. I mean, it's a labor of love, and again, you get the check for it, but it's a labor of love, you know. And I know it's corny, but, you know, I keep referring to that Hallmark commercial. When the girl comes back in and the professor's there, and what did you do? Oh, yeah, Andrews, I remember you, blah, blah, blah. What did you do? I became a teacher, you know. It's such a noble profession, you know. And I probably get in trouble for this, but sometimes I don't think you get paid enough.
Standing ovation for that part?
Yeah.
What he said, he didn't take up too much time because what he said is exactly on point. Some of you know I've been in the classroom, I've been in the office and that type of thing, so the classroom is where it all starts. We just support what you do. And hearing everything that's going on, it's like, really? His phrase, this can't be Roseman. And I'm one of those people that I'm always going, I'm not savvy when it comes to the technology stuff. I like some of it, and some of it, it doesn't like me more than anything. But most of the stuff that's going on is with the kids. It's not technology, it's the interaction, which is what we all need. And it blows me away. It does, it blows me away. And you're lucky I'm not in your classroom because I'd be crying all the time. I do that. He and I are buddies when it comes to that. We have a lot. And it's totally awesome. So I just thank you for all your effort, thank you for all your time, and just thank you for caring enough about the kids that you're actually showing it. You're doing it. It's awesome. Thank you.
It's just amazing everything you guys do. I wish I had more time to spend and visit some of your sites and stuff and get to know your teaching styles more. Because when you guys teach the playing portion of it, when they're actually thinking that they're playing, but they're learning. I tried to teach inside of it once. It wasn't for me. So I really understand where you guys are when you're trying to teach kids that think they have to learn. I used to had an employee of mine that said he didn't know math, he hated math, it just didn't work for him, and he would probably never graduate. He was still in high school. And I had him doing a project, and he did it perfectly, all the measurements were perfect. I said, I thought you didn't like math. I don't. I said, well, how did you do this project? Every bit of it was math. And then I showed him how'd you figure this? Well, you did this, I did this. What do you think that is? That's math. Oh, no, that's different. It's not. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna show you. You're gonna write it all down, and that's all math. This is what you learned in school, even though you may not have paid a lot of attention. But you did, because you learned it. You're doing it. You just didn't realize it. And surprisingly, he graduated, and he did really well in that. But it's really neat the way you guys are doing it, and everything. You guys come up with some just incredible ideas. And I've been on here a long time, and I've been here a lot longer than 96.
Me too.
Like the 60s. I've been here a long time. It's just all the different ideas you come up with to teach. That's the incredible part. I really never had a lot of that as far as the ability to do those kind of things. That's why teaching was not for me. So, anyways, thank you.
Mr. Reader.
thank you. Amazing things happening at Eastside. Thanks for the awesome presentation. I echo what they said, and congratulations to my favorite girls soccer team. That's all. Thank you guys. You guys are amazing.
Just want to say thank you and welcome for coming today. And it's really amazing to see everybody here. And I just wanted to say that I got excited when I started to hear Mrs. Noderman talk, and then when Mr. Torres came up and we started talking about high school and Ms. Wilson, and it's really exciting to see that excitement, and hopefully that it, goes to the students, and obviously it does. We've seen that tonight, especially for Ms. Lux and Leani, and thank you very much for your speech and your experience. And thank you for recognizing the teachers, principals. I really do appreciate, because we do appreciate our teachers and our administrators. And that's about it. I just kind of echo the same thing. You want to say something?
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Nyron. I'm amazed that you left out Halloween.
Oh. And I need to say as well, I'm going to stand up. I need to say we are two-time tied.
It's right.
I also have to say one and a half. Well, I know, but whatever. And so I do have to also say it's my staff, really, that puts it all together. I just kind of pump them up. It's Mr. Febby's, that's why it's my favorite.
Tommy.
It really is all that. I really get them pumped up and then I hide in my office. And they really get it. So it really is the staff too. I'm not even going to take credit tonight for Halloween. I'm not going to do it. It's all staff.
I think she just did.
Sandra, do you have any comments from the public? No comments. No comments from the public. Okay, superintendent's communication.
Just one thing, I wanted to thank the Rosewood News for working with us and starting the tradition of doing a virtual tour. Our first site that we have done is RES, and so I invite everybody to visit the Rosewood News and go on the virtual tour of RES that John put together for us. So thank you very much, John. That's it.
I do have one more thing. Yesterday I attended a Capture the Kids' Hearts presentation from Flippin, and it's a really good program. I just wanted to let you know that. Hopefully we can sign them up soon or sometime, and I really was impressed. So consent items E through A.
I will make a motion. I did have a question. Eric, this is for you. On the pay vouchers, the solar analysis, what was that?
There's a third-party analysis for a solar project. It's required by the county.
So, you ever had to spend that just to look at that?
Yeah, we paid for it through Prop 39 funds, which is energy efficiency funds.
Right.
So, yeah, it was basically, there's no way around it. If we wanted to get the county's approval for the project,
right,
we had to have a third-party analysis of it.
And what is solar wind for IT? It's a network monitoring manual. What is that?
Solar wind? Right.
Yeah, that's what it says. 539. 539. On the second page, on the first page.
I have to look at it. It's probably hardware, but I'll have to look into it.
I saw the two solar things, and it's like, what?
So SolarWinds is we monitor the entire IT network. So that's one of the softwares that we use to monitor the actual IT network. SolarWinds has nothing to do with solar panels. It's actually a software that monitors our IT system.
Okay.
When
I glance at that, is like, we're looking at windmills now?
No. So this is our solar. This is our networking monitoring. So this monitors our network for intruders and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. That it just
it's an annual cost.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I do. I just had some questions. Okay, thank you.
All second.
Okay, so a motion, prepare, and then adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Personnel? Have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept personnel as written. Second.
Prepare, second by Joyce. All in favor?
Aye.
Board policies, Mr. Weinstein.
So policies, we get at the beginning of each year, in January. These policies all have to do with law changes that take place effective January 1st. And our policies are updated through the CSBA system, and our policy committee went through all the policies and believed that all the policies were acceptable.
Is there a motion?
Being on the policy committee, I will make a motion.
Second by Kurt. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approve resolution 17, 18, 14? DTS Federal Surplus Property Program to authorize public schools representatives to acquire federal surplus property in the auspices of the California State Agency for Surplus Property Public Schools, Roseman High School.
Charlie, can you speak to this?
Well, what we're asking you to do is to approve 5 individuals who have the opportunity to access a website that has excess machinery, equipment, whether it's IT, whether it's for cafeteria, maintenance, and so forth, that can be acquired at a very minimal cost. At, I believe 9% of the original acquisition cost, or $100, whichever is greater. So I believe from talking to Major Tanksley with Eric, they listed 5 people that would have the ability to access that, and I believe that's Eric, Talia, Major Tanksley, Dan, and Quinn. Thank you. So we're asking you to approve those 5 individuals who have access to this excess machinery and equipment that is available both through the federal government and the state government.
Okay, wait, is that the right resolution number?
14, I believe.
That's
Well, the resolution is.
So 13 is correct.
Okay.
So this one is.
This is 13.
This one is correct.
I think I just confused everything. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, is there a fee? I mean, is there a cost that the district would have to pay for this?
Only if we're acquiring the equipment. Only if we're requiring equipment. So
this is,
again, it gives us the opportunity to acquire equipment used at much cheaper cost. But the application process, there is no application fee to my understanding, which has already been completed and submitted. They're just looking for who are the 5 individuals. We are allowed to name 5 individuals that would have access to this website. So to my understanding, the only cost is if we actually find something that we can use. It would be, like I said, 9% of the original acquisition cost, or $100, whichever is greater.
So it would be over 100?
It would not be over 100, correct.
I thought it was 9% or 100, whichever is greater.
Whichever is greater. Oh, I'm sorry. So yes.
Nothing less than.
Nothing less than $100.
There's no cost to participate. Basically, federal surplus equipment. It's like a website, say for instance eBay, that the state runs, but we could bid with other districts. It's only available to local districts. It doesn't have to be a school district, but it has to be a government entity in California. And if we purchase something, we're responsible for the transportation of it as well. Yeah, and there's everything you could think of, from forklifts to copiers to you name it, jet engines.
Some of the examples that Major Takes was provided with were CNC machine, which I believe is used for metal, CNC machine, forklifts, band equipment, trailers, vehicles.
I was working with Ms.
shop
Bixby on
machinery.
this.
Yes. Kitchen equipment, IT equipment. So those are some of the examples that were provided that would be accessible for this. So instead of having to buy new, it's a way to be able to get used at a much more reduced cost.
Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Second by Otis. All in favor?
Aye.
Setting proposed elementary school attendance boundaries. Mr. Weinstein.
So what this is the transportation department as well as the schools will be readjusting the boundaries for the elementary schools. There is a map available to public. I believe we have some available for the public to look at, but it's readjusting the elementary school boundaries to even out the not only the attendance, but to make it easier for transportation to get the kids to and from the schools by dividing the boundaries in a more equal amount based on the riders or bus riders that we currently have. So.
Do I call for a discussion?
Yeah. Motion for you to discuss. In other words, I'll open it for discussion. Did we, yeah, for discussion. I can amend my motion. Have we done a demographics study to see how it changes our boundaries?
So it does not change by 0.1% the social economic subgroup. And it does not change any of the special ed subgroup. It does not change any of the EL subgroup. So all the subgroups pretty much doesn't really impact it. And the net attendance is really only 6 students. So 43, I think, going from one school to the other, 49 going the opposite direction. And really what it does is it makes the boundaries much easier for the transportation department to be able to transport students to and from each of the schools, which helps us transport more students because they can double up their runs.
Well, but aren't there some students that are, let's just say, Roseman Elementary has a few students that are living in the West Park area, and they're bringing them from West Park to Roseman Elementary?
Currently,
because that's
yes.
what it is currently.
Right, and so this would basically allow those students in the West Park area to go to West Park, those students in the RES area to go to RES.
Okay.
But there will still be inter-district transfers and the parents transport.
Right, private vehicle transport, right.
The reason I asked about the study, years ago when West Park first got open, there was a big question about the social economic, I forget the actual term. So we had to do a study so we didn't just have all the kids in one area there and the other area there, because it would be uneven for our social and
it's social economically challenged subgroup.
Which originally got moved around. So now that how the town is laid out, it makes it easier if we just go back and that side goes here, this side goes here, and it's be a lot easier. It'll take away a lot of the little pockets that we had before. We sat down with Mrs. Oliver with transportation, and she was begging, please do this for me. Because it's really impacting the amount of bus time the kids are on the bus and how much movement the buses have to do. She would be a lot easier for them. I would actually like to table this to our next meeting to give the public a chance to have a look at the map. They will still be allowed to, if they want to do a inter-district transfer, they just will not be transported.
it will affect say, the fourth graders that are going into fifth grade. It could affect those students that have been with their classmates all these 3-4 years.
Yeah, there's
Now
49 students at one site, 43 at the
Yeah,
other,
so-
that are not fifth graders leaving.
Right.
So we did not look at the fifth graders that would be going to Tropical Middle School
Right.
because this is for next year.
Right.
So the current students that are K through 4,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it would be 43 and 49 students affected on each site.
And if we could we have that posted at each one of the schools so that parents, if they want to know?
Sure.
They can.
So we can put it on our website.
Did I get a second on my table for
Oh,
next week?
yes, that's right.
Or next week?
Second.
And second by Mr. Learning. All in favor?
Sorry.
Aye. Curriculum Learning Settlement, 2017-2018 quarter reports. Mr. Weinstein
This is
and Ms.
just
Hargis.
informational. We, all our sites are inspected each year by county offices for compliance of facilities. This is just informational showing that all of our sites passed.
And I would like to make a motion to go back into closed session to finish up some discussion that we need to finish.
I'll second. Second by Kurt. Go back into closed session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
8:22.
8:22.